In ancient times, the ancient immortal clan who lived in the Xuanhuang wasteland are all born with great powers. Among them, Hai Long, the black dragon, is born with the forces of chaos. He has a violent nature and is the most powerful. Zhen Gu, the master of the immortal clan, fears the power of Hai Long and wants to kill him. Both of them fight for hundreds of years before the war ends with the death of Zhen Gu. In that battle, Hai Long's lover sacrifices, because of which Hai Long is furious and heartbroken. To rule the three realms, Hai Long crowns himself as the king of immortals and makes Xuanhuang Wasteland the immortal realm. The new immortal clan is created and the demon clan is sealed underground by Hai Long, where they experience eternal night and face petrified punishment. Some immortals are not satisfied with Hai Long, so they leave the immortal clan and form Sheni clan in the mortal realm. Hai Long makes the sea spirit his prisoner, and she becomes the gatekeeper of immortal realm. Hai Long forces all the humans to mine for him and he tortures them under his rule. One day Xuanchai, who is the representative of the immortal realm, visits Xin state capital to collect redstone as tax. Dark black clouds follow him, and at that time the king of Xin is worried because they don't have anyone left in their state who can farm for them. Wu is hot-blooded and he is more frustrated than his father. Xuanchai goes to the castle and tells the king that the immortal realm has decided to get 10 times more offerings than the present time. Wu gets rageful and starts arguing with Xuanchai. His father stops him and tells Xuanchai that Xin doesn't have a single person for farming and the houses are also empty. Xuanchai tells them to get people from Bai State and use them for farming and mining. He tells the king that Hai Long won't wait for long and he would slaughter everyone in Xin State overnight. He tells the king not to make excuses and accept the decree. The king opens the scroll and burns the decree, telling Xuanchai that Xin State decided not to be bullied by an immoral realm anymore. Xuanchai tries to resist, but Wu and the king stop him and let him go back alive. Later, many soldiers of Xin State are massacred by the immortal clan members who also have special forces. Xin State is in a miserable condition because they are unable to do anything except to mourn. Later, the attempt to kill the king and Wu starts, but Wu catches the assassin and finds out that they are their own loyal soldiers. When the king discovers it, he gets angry and also disappointed. The soldiers think that the king's decision to go against the immortal clan is wrong, and they decide to kill him. The king's men kill all of the rebels, but they know that it isn't enough. The king is not ready to accept the fate, and he encourages his son not to give up too. Gu and Bai Chai are normal citizens of Xin State and they go to the capital to sell snakes. The capital is in a bad situation and it's a big struggle to enter. Gu drops some snakes on his way and Bai tells him to pick them up because it's important for them to sell them all. Gu gets bitten by a snake and Bai Kai stops him. Inside the capital, Bai Kai gets low prices for the snakes, but she has to sell them because she has to buy medicine for Gu. Later, they find out that the price of grain has gone up and Bai Kai starts arguing with the merchant, on which he gets angry and tries to attack her. Gu intervenes and stops him. It is revealed that he has super strength. Bai finds out the merchants are selling grains at an overpriced and gets worried. Wu comes unannounced and Bai Kai reaches out to him, telling him about the issue they are facing. Wu punishes the merchant and distributes the grains among the poor. Gu and Bai Kai also get their share, but they get attacked by the merchants later because they want to rob Bai. While they are fighting, Wu intervenes. The merchants tell Wu that Bai Kai paid with fake shells and they were trying to get the grains back. Wu decides to arrest both of them and decide their punishment in the castle. Gu and Bai run away with the grains and Bai gives both grain bags to Gu and tells him to wait for her. Bai gets caught by Wu, but Gu is successful in getting away. Bai is unable to escape and she gets angry at Wu, telling him that he is worse than the immortal clan. Wu gets frustrated and decides to spare Bai. Wu goes back to the castle and meets his lover Moon Fox. She reminds Wu about his duties and tells him that the whole future of Xin State depends on him. On the other hand, the king is also talking with his wife and he is happy to talk to her before the difficult time. Xin State is being monitored in the immortal realm and the immortal clan decides to march at them and slaughter them. The 5 members of the immortal clan come along with the Black Dragon and the Storm Cloud. They also turn Bai State against Xin and order them to kill Xin soldiers. Bai's army marches and surrounds the whole Xin State. When Ti Wu and the king find out, they prepare themselves to go to war against the immortal clan. The citizens of the Xin State are in a panic state. The king comes and tells the people about Bai's army outside of their walls. He tells them that the capital is safer for them than outside. Gu and Bai Kai get worried and decide to stay united until the end. The king wants his son to stay safe because he is the future of his kingdom. But Wu tells his father that he is ready to fight in the battle because there is no turning back. The people get motivated and their morale is raised. Wu has no fear in his eyes and he is ready to sacrifice himself. The king and Wu draw out their swords as they rely on them and no other special power. The doors of the capital opened and the king of Xin State starts marching, leading his son and the army from front. The soldiers in the battlefield see their king and get motivated. The king draws his flaming sword and jumps over the enemies. He attacks them in a storm that panics the Bai soldiers. Wu and other soldiers set their foot in the battleground and start killing enemies. One of the Immortal Clan members, Gui Mu, jumps and tries to kill the king. The king feels his presence and cuts off his hand. Gui Mu starts shouting with pain, and the Immortal Clan members get surprised when they discover that the king of Xin can harm them. The Immortal Clan members get embarrassed because they think that Gui Mu brought shame on their clan. Gui Mu uses all his power to kill the king, but the king of Xin is overpowering him. The whole battlefield is in shock because he is playing with the Immortal Clan. The king wants to deliver the message with his actions that the Immortal Clan is also defeatable, and he is successful in doing so. He kills Gui Mu, and the Immortal Clan members get nervous. Tian Kui, another member of the Immortal Clan, faces the king on the battlefield. Both the king and Tian Kui confront and match forces with each other. The Immortal Clan starts admiring the king of Xin because there are few people who can match force with Tian Kui. The king of the Xin state turns into a burning falcon and pushes Tian Kui away. The Immortal Clan knows that it is impossible for any mortal to have that power. One of the Immortal Clan members attacks Wu from the Black Dragon, and the Moon Fox protects him. Moonlight Flower watches the battle from the Immortal Realm, surprised when she sees her sister on the mortal side. The Moon Fox also has immortal power, and her son is confused about what is happening. Wu asks his mother why they are overpowering the Immortal Clan, and she tells him that she was once part of the Immortals and explains that his father had the Undying Falcon armor. When Moonlight Flower sees that the mortals are overpowering the Immortals with the Undying Bird armor, she knows that the prophecy of the end of the Immortal Realm might be true. Suddenly, during the battle, a strong realm power spreads across the battlefield, making everyone feel consumed by immense pressure. Wu feels a lot of pain, and his mother uses colorless divine power to hide him. They find out that the king of the Immortal Realm has come to the battlefield with his dragon. The Moon Fox knows that Hai Long came because he might have found out that the king of Xin State was extraordinary. Wu tries to go and help his father, but his mother stops him, telling him that Hai Long might kill him too. The king is barely able to stand in front of the king of the Immortal Realm. He asks Hai Long if he is really scared of the prophecy, that he had to come to the mortal realm because of it. Hai Long tells him that the prophecy is just a rumor and that the whole human race is going to remain his slave for eternity. Hai Long narrows down his pressure aura range just to the king. All the other people are freed, and they feel normal. The king spreads his flaming wings and goes ahead to attack Hai Long, but Hai handles him and throws him away easily. The king of Xin State becomes a total rebel of the Immortal Realm, and he has to face Hai Long at all costs. Wu wants to go and help his father, but his mother tells him that his father has decided to sacrifice himself before entering the battleground. Hai Long attacks the king, and his abilities are so overpowered that it looks like a hopeless battle. Other members of the Immortal Clan gain confidence, and the tides of war change. Wu tries to break into the area, but the shield of Hai Long is really tough. Suddenly, a man arrives and he makes a hole into Hai Long's shield. Moon Fox gets happy to see that man and tells Wu that the man is his uncle Ziyu. The king gets happy to see his brother, and Ziyu tells him that he promised to come back on time and he has fulfilled it. Hai Long admits that the mortals might have some skills. The king starts to attack Hai Long, but it isn't easy for him as he is already injured. Another member of the Immortal Clan goes ahead to attack Ziyu and makes him unconscious. Hai Long kills the king, but the king is still standing on his toes. Every soldier of the Xin State gets emotional as their leader dies an honorary death. Moon Fox goes ahead and joins her son's hand with his former husband's, transferring all his undying shield power into him. Wu sees his father in his consciousness, who tells him to look after the human race and free them. Bai soldiers enter the borders of the Xin State and start looking for Wu because Moon Fox teleported him to the highest tower of the state. Moonlight Flower comes to the tower and sees her sister. Moon Fox knew that her sister is strong. That's why she wanted to protect her son. In the meantime, Bai soldiers find them along with Moonlight and move ahead to attack them, but Moonlight stops the soldiers instantly. Wu is wearing the Undying Bird armor when Moonlight Flower attacks him, and he gets injured. The armor is unable to stop her attack, and he falls to the ground. The whole city starts burning as the Immortal Clan almost wipes out a lot of people. Wu lies on the ground, bleeding. His mother starts crying for him, and she burns fire around them so that no one can come near them. Moonfox feels hopeless as she has just lost her husband, and now her son is also going to die. Moonlight is shocked to see her sister crying loudly and also stops attacking them. Moonfox tells her son while crying that she won't let him feel pain for what she is going to do. She holds the dagger in her hand and stabs her son in front of her sister. Moonlight is stunned as she doesn't predict the outcome. Wu starts bleeding and his mother started crying while holding her son in her arms. No one knew why Moonfox stabbed her own child and wanted to kill him. Wu asks her mother about what he did wrong which made her kill him. Moonlight can't control her emotions and has tears in her eyes. Moonfox starts crying because it's hard for her to stab her own child. On the other side, Bai Kai is looking for Gu all over the capital because they got separated in the crowd before. Almost everyone in the Xin state is dead and Bai finds Gu laying on the ground unconscious. Wu Juke sees his mother in his dream. Moonfox tells his son that she is the priestess of Immortal Realm, that's why she sees the future centuries ago. Moonfox sends his son's soul into someone else because it's the only possibility to save him from the calamity. Moonfox says farewell to her son and tells him that he has to survive not as Wu Mu but as a normal mortal. Wu Juke wakes up and discovers himself entirely in someone else's body. The body belongs to Gu who died in the calamity. Bai sees that Gu regains his consciousness and gets happy. She doesn't know that it's Wu Juke, the prince of Xin state. Bai is happy and tries to hug Wu, but she can't believe that he starts talking again. Wu pushes her back and is going to tell her that he is Wu but remembers the last words of his mother who told him to live a normal person's life. Wu stops himself and Bai wakes up all the children in their house. She is cheerful after she hears Wu's voice. She gives Wu his favorite dry fruit but he refuses to eat it. Wu keeps acting strange, in which Bai hits his head with a stone and makes him unconscious. When Wu wakes up, he sees that he is tied up with the pillar. Bai asks about who he really is. She thinks that Gu might have gotten some kind of disease which made him act differently. Later, when everyone sleeps, Wu unties himself and escapes back to the capital. He sees his father's body getting humiliated in the public by Bai forces. The commander of Bai is torturing Xin State's survivors and telling them that they also have to insult their former king. Wu tightens his grip as it is not bearable for him. General An, with the remaining soldiers of Xin State, attacks the Bai checkpost to free their king's body. Wu jumps into the fight as he waits for the right moment. Wu helps General An and saves his life, and thanks Wu without knowing about who he really is. Wu tells An that they have to free his father's body as soon as possible, and finds out that Wu is alive and glad, and gives Wu a bottle and tells him that he should go and say a proper farewell to his father. While An and other soldiers are busy fighting Bai forces, Wu goes ahead and burns his father's body. The Bai commander gets angry in general and has to change the strategy toward defense because the heir of Xin State is still alive. Xin soldiers are protecting Wu and An tells Wu that he should escape alone. Wu wants to leave with General An, but it's really hard because most of their soldiers are dead. Wu brings 2 horses and takes An with him while he is injured. Bai Kai sees Gu fighting and riding horses and she knows that something is definitely wrong. Wu brings into Bai's home and sees that there is no one in the house. Wu tells An that his name is Gu and he lives with a girl and 4 orphan children. He doesn't want him to blow his cover and tells him that he should be careful. Wu helps General An and gets him inside the house. General An asks Wu about how he is able to change his body. Wu tells him the truth that his mother was priestess of Immortal Clan and she knew about the result of calamity for a long time. That's why she took a thread of his soul out of his body and faked his death so that Hai Long or any other immortal won't follow him again. General An's condition is getting worse and he starts bleeding. Wu wants to take him to a clinic but An knows that it would only expose them. He doesn't want to risk Wu's life. Wu remembers that Bai Kai used to collect herbs. He thinks that she might have collected something that could help him. Wu searches the house but he can't find anything. Bai Kai comes and she gives Wu a herb, asking him if he is looking for it. Wu is surprised because Bai didn't ask him about anything and she seems normal. General An apologizes to Bai Kai and tells her that he is going to leave as soon as he can. Bai tells him that she won't ask him to leave and she goes outside. Wu comes outside once he has used all the herbs on General An's body. He tries to tell Bai about what is happening but she refuses to listen. Wu suggests to her that they should send the children elsewhere. Bai Kai gets worried and tells him that the children are orphans and there is nowhere else for them to go. Bai gives a stick to Wu and tells him to collect food for them. Wu doesn't have any idea about how to collect food. They go to the lake and Bai makes bait to catch the fish. The fish come near the bait but Wu struggles to catch any of them. Xuanchai goes to the king of Bai state and tells him that he has to offer 1,000 boxes of red stones. Bai king is worried because arranging such a high amount is really hard. Chuanchai tells him that he should change the law and make Xin State women and children slaves too. While Wu brings a girl and baits her for the injured immortal to eat, the immortal is happy and he is healing himself. Inside the forest, Bai tells Gu that they have to collect firewood and she traps him into a net. Bai asks Gu about the truth and wants to know who he really is. Gu tries to make excuses and tells her that he is Gu, but he remembers all of his childhood memories and admits that it's the reason he is acting strange. Bai Kai asks Gu about why he burned Xin King's body. She finds out the pendant of Wu and tells him that she understands everything. Wu gets shocked for an instant because he thinks that Bai Kai might have found out that he is the Prince of Xin State. She gets glad because she thinks that Gu went to the capital to loot royal treasure. She tells Gu that they could buy a lot of food and feed the children. Bai tells him that she is going to keep the pendant as the fee for him to stay and eat food in her house. Wu tries to get the pendant back but stops because Bai agrees to easily cure General, and Bai Kai frees Gu and they go back home. Bai makes food for everyone and gives a bowl to Gu so that he can feed General, and she is glad that Gu is acting mature. Bai tells the children about General and says that he is a hero. She says that they have to take care of him if she isn't around. After that, Bai goes inside the house and gives a bowl of soup to Wu. He hesitates at first because it is commoner food and the bowl is also broken. Wu tells Bai that she should throw away the bowl because it is broken. Bai tells him to rotate the bowl and drink from the other side. Wu finishes all the soup and Bai smiles to see him. Time passes and Wu gets adjusted to commoner life. General and also recovers and he starts helping them out. Wu has difficulty sleeping because he has to watch over the children. One day, Bai is shaking while sleeping and she is dreaming about her childhood. She doesn't wake up from her sleep, and the children and Wu get worried about her. Wu is confused because Bai feels cold, but the children tell him that Bai is usually like that. Wu tells the children to boil water, then he wakes Bai up to ask her about what herb could cure her. Bai tells him that it's just a fever and she will be fine. Wu is worried and brings the boiled water, but he sees that Bai has fainted. He takes her to the doctor, and Bai wakes up in the shop where she used to sell snakes. The shop owner is an expert in herbs and tells Wu that Bai has a weak and cold aura. He says that they need a lot of money to cure her. Bai wakes up and tells them that she doesn't want to get cured. Wu is worried for her and wants her to recover fast. Wu hears voices outside and sees that the Bai soldiers are capturing commoners to take them to the mine. The shop owner tells Wu and Bai to escape from the back door. The Bai soldiers surround Wu and Bai. Bai tells the soldiers that Wu is her husband, and Wu says that the law doesn't allow the state to capture couples and children. The soldiers start laughing and tell Wu that the law of Xin King has been cancelled. The soldiers attack Wu and Bai, but Wu defeats them with his skills. Bai is emotional and she looks into Wu's eyes. Wu knows that Bai completely stopped trusting him. On their way back home, Bai and Wu are confronted by a white tiger. Bai gets stunned and Wu tells her that he will take away the tiger so that she can escape. Bai is worried about Wu, but he tells her that he can easily fight the tiger. Bai runs away and Wu starts fighting the tiger alone. The tiger is tamed and it rages toward Wu. The tiger is stronger than Wu and jumps on him. Bai knows that she can't abandon Gu, so she comes back to help him. A child named Jaja is sitting on a tree and he stops the tiger. He calls the soldiers and tells them to capture Wu and Bai. Both of them are locked in a cage along with many other commoners. Wu sees him before leaving and he gives him something to take care of. Wu tells him to take care of the children until he comes back. There are two other commoners in the same cage as Wu and Bai. A soldier continuously looks at Bai, which makes her feel insecure, and she hugs Wu. She tells another commoner that Wu is her husband. Wu threatens the guard and makes him run away. The commoners tell Wu that he has to take care of his wife because they are getting shifted to the mine. Everyone reaches the mine and meets Chen Jing, who is in charge of the miners. He tells everyone that the mine is their new home and everyone has to stay like family. He also tells everyone to tell him if they ever need anything. Chen Jing is the father of Jaja, and when he goes away, the guards get strict with the prisoners. Those who try to run away get killed. Wu remembers his father's wish to free the human race from the immortal clan. He tries to resist, but the guards catch him. Bai tells the guards that her husband is a fool and she protects him. All the new prisoners are told to get a melting stamp on their body, which causes immense pain and people start shouting. Wu says that he is not a slave and tries to resist again, but the guards stamp on his neck and he starts bleeding because of the hot stamp. Inside the mine, there is a giant space with many miners already mining the bloodstone. Bai gets harassed by a guard, but Wu protects her. The guards are strict with Wu and force him to work the whole day. Wu mines a lot of bloodstones, and the guards know it isn't easy to torture him. Wu notices that Bai's hands are tired from mining, so he tells her to stop. He takes over her work and starts mining again. The other prisoners who came along with them get worried and tell Wu to rest for a while. Wu is frustrated because he is unable to do anything to make the commoners' lives better. He tortures himself because it is shameful for him to see his people getting assaulted daily. Later, the guards distribute food among the prisoners, and everyone gathers around it. When Wu sees that the guards are giving potatoes, he is shocked because he never imagined humans could be treated worse than animals. Bai and the other prisoners are glad to get potatoes, but a guard comes and stops them from eating after their hard work. Wu gets angry at the guard and starts starring him. Guard tells Bai Kai and others that they are not allowed to eat yet because they haven't completed their quota. Bai tells them that they just arrived yesterday, which is why it is almost impossible to mine bloodstone so fast. The guard tells them that it isn't his fault and blames Wu for it. Wu gets angry and grabs potatoes, giving them to Bai and the others. The guard tries to attack them again, but Wu stops him. He tells the guard that his friends deserve to eat. The guard gets angry because Wu is challenging his authority. Wu tells the guard that he is just a dog in the eyes of the Immortal Clan and nothing special. The guard gets angry and asks Wu to say that again. Wu calls him a dog again in front of everyone, and the guards start beating him mercilessly. After it is all over, Wu is hurt all over his body, and Bai takes him to the sleeping area. She tells Wu that they should sleep in the cave. Wu is surprised and asks Bai how she could adapt to the environment so quickly. While Bai is sleeping, Wu wakes up and sees guards in their cave. He kicks the guards and threatens to complain about them. Bai is awake and she starts smiling. She comes to Wu and tells him that he should not fight the guards because she knows that he cannot survive for long. Wu remembers that his parents died because they wanted to keep him alive. Later, Wu gets serious and he starts mining quietly. Most of the time he ignores the guards and doesn't pick any fights. Other miners are surprised when they see that Wu has collected a lot of bloodstones. Bai touches the mining wall and feels everything behind it. She feels strange and her neck starts shining, but she covers herself and acts normal. Wu goes to get his food, but someone else snatches it from him. He gets angry and tries to fight him, but Bai stops him by saying that the other prisoner might be more hungry. Wu grabs his food and goes aside to eat it. He sees an old man sitting and offers him food. When Wu sees his face, he gets surprised for an instant. The old man rejects his offer and tells him that he needs to eat it more than him. He tells Wu a story and says that he was also hot-blooded when he came into the mine. Suddenly, the old man starts shaking and his condition gets worse. Bai gives him water and tells him to rest. The old man introduces a bird to Bai and tells her to take care of it because the bird saved his life many times. The guards come in a rush and tell the old man to complete his quota for the day. Wu gets angry at them and tells them to stop. He fights with the guards and threatens to throw them over the cliff. The guard panics and Wu asks him if he is afraid of death. The guard throws the old man off the cliff because he is sick and there is no doctor in the mine. Wu comes back and tells Bai and the others about the old man. Bai Kai feels pale and she can't stand still. The prisoner asks her if she is fine. Bai says that she feels bad for the old man because he worked hard in the mine all his life. The prisoner tells them that they might also end up like that. On the next day, Wu wakes up and sees that Bai isn't shaking with cold. He knows that Bai will get in trouble if the guard discovers her condition. Wu searches the whole mine for the doctor, asking each person about the doctor but couldn't find any. The guard notices that Wu and Bai are both absent and comes to ask the prisoner about them. The prisoner tries to tell the guard that they are working on a different site, but their co-workers say that Wu's wife is ill. The guards go to catch Bai, but Wu takes her and starts running. Bai is unconscious, but Wu lifts her on his shoulder and tries to hide. The guards are chasing them, and Wu goes to a dead end inside the cave. He is ready to fight the guards, but when they reach the end, they can't see them and go to the other side to search for them. Wu tries to wake up Bai Kai, but she isn't awake. Suddenly, a storm rises inside the cave, and Wu hears a voice. Someone from the storm comes outside, and it's the same old man they met earlier. Wu is shocked to see him, and the old man tells him that it's harder to live in the mine than to die. The old man asks Wu if he is willing to do anything to cure Bai Kai. Wu tells him without any hesitation that he is ready. The old man tells him that he wants him to behave as a good slave in the mine. Wu is shocked, and the old man tells him that his father had lived in the cave too. Wu asks the old man if the boy he was telling the story about was his father. The old man tells Wu that his father, Xin King, was once a slave, and that's why he decided to free the whole human race from the Immortal Clan. Before leaving, the old man lights a fire on Wu's hand and tells him that it's a small gift for him. The old man gives him a bag of herbs and goes away. The guards are beating other prisoners, and Wu comes, telling the guards that they woke up late. Bai is also fine, and they tell them that they are going to complete their quota soon. The guards go away, and Bai tells Wu and others that she can sense the bloodstone behind the walls. Wu and others trust Bai and start mining where she tells them. They find a big stack of bloodstone and complete their quota instantly. Wu becomes a good slave and completes his quota daily. One day, a slave fails to complete his part of the quota because he is ill. Wu gives him his bloodstone because he mined extra, and Bai is happy. Wu gifts Bai a rare plant that he found inside the cave, making her happy. If you guys like my recaps, please consider subscribing.